Hello, everybody, and welcome. Today is September 5th, 2023. Welcome to Simply Cards by Kathy. I'm Kathy Ondas, and I hope you're ready to have some fun with the Pick of the Patch bundle. That's kind of a mouthful. Today I'm going to show you how to make two cards. I'm going to show you some tips on stamping and using your punch to stamp those images. And we're going to just have some fun. I have lots to tell you. I'll tell you most of it throughout the video because I want to get started. But I do want to remind you, tomorrow's September 6th, and that's the day the mini catalog goes live. Now, if you don't have a catalog and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, just go up to the top of my banner and hit contact me. Send me an email with your name and your address, and I'll be happy to pop a catalog in the mail to you. And I'd be honored to earn your business. So another quick thing for tomorrow is Stampin' Up! Has 5 new designer series papers going on sale. I am so excited about them. They're gorgeous, and they're only while supplies last. So 2 tips to keep in mind for September 6th. Let's flip this camera down and get started. Okay, so we are going to be using the Pick of the Patch bundle. It's a photopolymer stamp set. It's so darn cute. You can use it just for fall, Thanksgiving, and you can even use it for Halloween. There's some little faces that you can put on there. Now it comes as a bundle, or you can buy it separately, but as a bundle, you save 10%, and you get the punch that will stamp this image and this image, also the 3-leaf and the stem. And I'm going to show you how to use that today with some tips and tricks. So before we start on the 2 cards, we're going to get stamping out of the way. So let's go ahead and we're going to get started. We're going to keep that punch close by. Now I have some scraps of paper here, and we are going to stamp our pumpkins. Now, I'm going to stamp a lot, but I'm going to tell you I've pre-cut them all already so that with 2 cards we could just get started. So I have some scrap paper here, and first I'm going to stamp my gourd. Now we're going to use that on one of our cards, and I chose wild wheat to use. So let's ink this stamp up and give it a good press. And this I've had to fussy cut out. Now I also need some smaller pumpkins, and I actually put them on the same block. It's this little pumpkin here and this one here, because I have to fussy cut those. Those don't cut out with the punch. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stamp them this way, and I'm gonna stamp another set. Okay, we're good to go with that. Now, these are all fussy cut and I've done them. So we're gonna set these off to the side, but I wanted you to see with stamping those. Now, I want to show you a trick on how to use your punch and a template from it. So what I've done is I've punched out just a piece of basic white. Now, if you're new to using the punches, they lock and this opens them up. But the trick to this is to punch out a piece, and then we're going to mount your stamps, or my stamps, onto a block together. So I'm taking a bigger block and I'm going to look at the front, and this is key. You want to look at the front of your punch to put your pumpkins on, or whatever you're using. So I'm going to lay this down here, and I'm going to go ahead and set my little or smaller pumpkin right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and fit in my large pumpkin. Now I'm going to hold them down, and I'm just going to peel my template off, and they are now perfectly aligned to cut out. Now, why is it I had you look at the front? Because when you turn it over to punch, your images are opposite when you stamp. So let me show you that. So here's a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to go ahead and ink up my stamps, and I want to make sure they're good and covered. All right, that looks good. So let's go ahead and stamp this. Give it a good press. All right, now let's punch this out. And look at that. They line up perfectly. Oop. I've got to, there we go, line up. There we are. They line up perfectly to punch out. And that's how I got my template. So just make a template, but remember when you are putting them on the block, look at the front of your punch to line them up again like this, because once you stamp, they're going to be opposite and it will match the punch on the back. All right. So any questions pop in there? So we have our pumpkins. Now I want to show you a trick for stamping the stems and the leaves. And I'm going to use mossy meadow for my leaves and pecan pie for my stems. So let's bring those in here, and then we're going to have all the stamping done, and we're going to do the cards. So I just have a strip of 1/4 inch white here, and I'm just going to go right along and stamp and just kind of space them out a little bit. And I'm going to do the same with my leaves. Now, again, I want to look at how this is going to feed through my punch. So my leaves are up. So I want to make sure that that's how I punch or stamp, not punch, my leaves. Okay, let's close these up so I don't wear them, because we're pretty much done with a good amount of stamping. So now you can feed these through. Let me show you that. And you can just go right along and punch and punch, and you can just keep working it through. Same with your leaves. I'm going to bring this down, punch, and just move through, punch, and you've got your third one. So hopefully some tips to help you with using a punch, especially if you're new to the punches. Now let me get all this put away, and we're going to start with our cards. All right, so let's move this out. And our first card, we're going to use pecan pie. I love pecan pie for fall. Now, don't worry about measurements, because remember, right down below, by 6 o'clock this evening, right down below in the description of this video is going to be a link where you'll be able to go over to my website, and you will see supplies and measurements, and there'll even be a downloadable PDF there for you. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we are going to use a piece of basic white. Now I went ahead And I'm using a technique here that I did back in the summer called partial embossing. And I will put a link to that video here also if you haven't seen it, so that you can go back and refer to it. But I simply used and this is the Leaf Fall embossing folder. I love this folder. It's so pretty. And the thing is, it's not in either catalog. It was in the catalog last fall, and it's now an online exclusive. So what I did is I embossed on both the upper and lower edge, but I left a blank space in here. Now, normally with partial embossing, you do that so that you can stamp within the white space here. But I'm going to use a piece of paper, designer series paper. But what I do want to do is add some dimension to this embossed image. So I'm going to bring it over to my scoreboard, and I'm going to put it all the way up in the corner here so you can see it. And I'm going to take my stylus and I'm just going to run it right along the edge of where I've embossed to give it some dimension. So we're going to do the same here. And let me bring that out for you to see. Okay, you can see it kind of pops it up. So now I'm going to take a piece of pecan pie, and this is the Glorious Gingham designer series paper. And this is cut, I believe, at 1 3/4, and we're just going to fit it right in there. In fact, I'm going to take just 1/8 of an inch off. Let's do that now, because once I added that little bit of edge, or popped it up with my stylus, I want to keep that popped up so that you can see it. So I just trimmed it off a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and add some multi-purpose glue. These are such fun cards, and it's such a fun stamp set, and that you can even use with some of your other stamps. All right. Now let's go ahead and pop this up on the front, and not pop it up. I'm actually going to glue it. When I'm using embossing folders, I almost always, I've learned to never say always, almost always use multi-purpose glue. And the reason being is it gets in the cracks and crevices of that embossed area, and it just kind of helps to hold it down a little better. So let's go ahead and we're going to place this on here and just center it up a little bit. Also, the glue lets me slide. So there's the front of our card. So I have gone ahead. Remember, even though we stamped, I told you I kind of prepared ahead of time. So for the front of this card, I'm going to use 2 large pumpkins, a gourd, and one of the smaller pumpkins. These are the pumpkins, these 3, that were punched out from the punch. So what we're going to do with this is I'm going to use this one for my greeting. I'm going to move these over, and we're just going to stamp. And I chose the greeting from the stamp set, Pick of the Patch, Thanks So Much. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp it with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And let's just stamp right down. And here's our greeting. It's stamped right on the pumpkin. Now I need to add his stem. So I'm going to just take a little bit of glue here. Now all of the others are ready to go. They even have their dimensionals on them. And I'm just going to add this here and flip them over. and then I can adjust it for how tall and if I want it angled. So now we're ready to add our dimensionals and put all of these on the front of our card. I hope you all had a good weekend. If you're here in the United States, we had Labor Day. So for us, it was a 3-day holiday weekend. I hope you had time for some crafting or relaxation, being able to do something that's fun for you. So we are going to start to put these on. So our one with the thanks so much with our sentiment, I'm going to use that first. And let's get these off. And we're going to place this one right about here. And I'm going to angle it a little bit. Just up a little bit. There we go. Now the next one I want to put down is my gourd. And you can see I only put dimensionals down the center because he's going to lean on the 2 pumpkins that are going to be beside him on each side. So I'm going to lean him like this. That looks good. Now, the next one is another big pumpkin, and I've got his dimensionals there. So let's just go ahead and put these on. I find if I use my take your pick tool, I tend to not have them all over the place. I keep a little plastic container here, and I just put them in there as I take them off. Now this one is going to slide under him, and I'm going to tilt it a little bit this way. And then our last little pumpkin is going to lean on the big one. And you can see I did not put dimensionals on the side that's going to rest on the other pumpkin. Let me show you that. So he's going to come here, and we're just going to tilt him this way. So here's the front of our card. Now let's do the inside. So for the inside of our card, I took a piece of basic white 4 by 5 1/4, and I already stamped my greeting. It is also from the Pick of the Patch, and it says, "You're the pick of the patch." And I took a piece of pecan pie. This is 1/2 inch, and a 3/8 inch piece of the Glorious Gingham Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and adhere these 2 strips together. And then we're going to adhere this to the bottom of our inside layer. I want to scoot that down just a little bit. Hence why I use glue. Let's slide that down a little bit. Okay, and I want this to be right, just show a little edge of white here. So let's go ahead and adhere this. And just a little bit of the white. Okay, and I am going to flip it over because you can see I have a little bit extra here, and I want to be able to trim that off. So let's do that. All right. And we're ready to adhere it to the inside of our card. Now for my embellishments, we are going to use the Adhesive Back Solid Gems. And these are in the annual catalog. Here's the inside. And I'm going to bring them over for you. These are in the annual catalog, and you have pecan pie. I believe it's boho blue and lemon lolly. And we're going to use the pecan pie. And I'm going to pick up, I'm going to use little ones because I want to put them on so that somewhere within my So here's our first card. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So you ready for the second one? Let's go on to our second card. Let me move this off to the side. Now for our second card, I am using crushed curry. That's such a great fall color. And I'm also using Mossy Meadow as a layer. Now this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And we have a layer of Mossy Meadow. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the front. And then we're going to add a layer of basic white. Now this is 4 by 5 1/4. And our layer of basic white is 3 3/4 by 5. Now again, I used partial embossing here for one of my layers, but I still need to add my accent line. Now you don't have to do the accent line if you don't want to, but I just like the way it looks. Now I'm going to show you something here. If you emboss it or run your accent line the way your embossing is, the line is going to go down instead of up. So it'll be the valley. If you flip it over, which I like the hill, I'm just going to take and run this through. And I'm going to run it through again. I'm actually going to do a double. Okay. And you can see I did a double line that actually gives me an accent point. Now, we are going to set this off because we're going to stamp in this bare spot, which is really often the purpose for doing partial embossing. Now for this card, we're going to use the tree from our Pick of the Patch stamp set. And we're going to stamp it using the pecan pie. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to ink up my tree. And I'm going to stamp them right over onto the bottom here. Okay. Now, next I want to add some leaves. And there are leaves in this stamp set. And we're going to do them in crushed curry. And let me grab those from you. They're just 3 little leaves, and we're going to put them on a small block. So let's bring in one of our small blocks, and we're going to ink this up with crushed curry. And we're just going to start to add some leaves, like falling leaves for fall. I'm going to add some more. Let's add some. I'm going to turn it here. Oops, I don't want to get my head in the camera. Add that here. And I want to add a few little ones. Let's flip this around right in here. I think that looks pretty good. Well, we're going to stop with the leaves. Okay, Now we're ready to put our pumpkins on. So remember, I had stamped. I cut an extra one of these from the punch, and I stamped these 2 smaller pumpkins. Well, I fussy cut those out, and I actually got them ready for us to put on. So we are going to add our pumpkins to this. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this onto our card, and we're going to build our scene right on our card base since we have this already. Kind of throwing the glue around here. There we go. That looks pretty good. Oh, straighten it back out. All right. Now I'm going to take my bigger pumpkin, and he's going to go in the middle. So let's go ahead, and I have the dimensionals on already. And we're going to pop him down first. He's going to go right about here. Okay, my next pumpkin is the, I guess we'll call it medium size. I put dimensionals on the left side of him because, again, he's going to lean on to the other pumpkin. And we're going to put him right about here. Yeah. All right, and then our baby pumpkin is going to go on the other side. So let's put him here. Okay, now remember we punched out the leaves. I want to add some leaves to this. We're going to add 3. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals here, and we're going to pop some of those on. Now I'm only going to put 1 or 2 on each leaf. Let's try 1 and see how that works. And I'm just going to kind of put them down under the pumpkin. The 1 actually works well. And let's put 1 maybe in here. And let's put a 3rd one over here for that little guy. I'm going to pop this one right here. All right. Now I'm going to add a bow. And I went ahead and I made the bow ahead of time. This is out of linen thread, and I doubled my strand of thread, so I got a little bit fuller bow. We're just going to put him right here. All right, now I'm ready for my greeting. Now I already cut a rectangle out, and this is using the Essential Nested Dies, one of the rectangles, and we're going to go ahead and stamp our thank you greeting again, but this time I'm going to stamp it in the Mossy Meadow. So let's bring that one in. And again, it says thanks so much. And we're going to pop this up right here. So I'm going to add some dimensionals. Now, if you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me grow my channel. And if you hit that subscribe button, you will be notified when I do live videos or when I post a new video. And it also helps me grow my channel. Now, if you're watching me live, thank you so much, or you're catching the replay. Thank you for all your support and following and helping me grow my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm very happy you found me, and I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. I do go live Tuesdays and Friday mornings at 11 a.m. So here's the front. Now, to add some embellishments, I'm going to use the adhesive back speckled dots. These, I believe, are in the new catalog coming out tomorrow. And we're just going to go ahead, and again, I'm going to add them some to the embossed area. Let's pick this up here, and I'm going to go over and add one right here. So there's the front of our card. And for the inside, I left it blank so that I could write a personalized message, but I embossed about a 1-inch strip on the right edge to pick up the embossed design and partial embossing from the front of my card. So let's adhere this inside. And I have another piece of Mossy Meadow that I'm going to adhere it to. I almost forgot to do that, didn't I? Okay. And then we're going to pop this in there. There we go. So here's our two cards. Let's bring the other one back in. So two cards, two different designs, both using partial embossing for a technique. Let me bring you back to me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I certainly enjoyed doing it for you, and it's such a fun stamp set. So if you did, again, please give me a thumbs up. I will be back on Friday with you at 11 a.m. And I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon.